Okay, I'm going to play this video, which they also didn't make it into. This is stupid because if they'd wanted this to do well, they would have labeled this thing, Brie addresses Katie's, whatever they'd call it. Brie addresses our decision about Katie's stylistic issues. But they didn't. It's called like OPEC. It's about like energy crisis. It's like, okay, well, someone doesn't want this to be seen.
Good morning and welcome to Rising. We have a great show for you today as always, but before we get to that, Briahna would like to say some words. Go ahead.
Thank you, Robbie. As many of you know, journalist Katie Halper was a guest host on Rising Monday before last, and as part of that role, she recorded a radar, or monologue. The radar addressed Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's statement that progressives cannot ignore the apartheid conditions many Palestinians live under and be progressive except for Palestine. Katie's radar critiqued the backlash to Tlaib, incited a former Secretary of State, chair of Israel's left political party, Israel's former education minister, former Israeli environment minister, and others who corroborated this view that Israel is an apartheid state. The decision was subsequently made by The Hill editor-in-chief Bob Cusack not to air her radar. Katie was then told that not only would she not be asked back to host, but that she would no longer be invited to do the regular guest spots she has been participating in for about 3 years now. I strongly disagree with how Katie was treated by The Hill. It seems obvious to me from her long tenure on the show that neither the quality of her analysis nor her presentation style has ever been seriously in question up until this point. You can find her radar, which she re-recorded with Breakthrough News, an independent media channel, on their YouTube page and judge for yourself. I, for one, find it difficult to believe that despite The Hill's representations, this is merely an editorial decision as opposed to an ideological one. As a former senior politics editor at The Intercept myself, I found the quality and accuracy of Katie's radar to be unimpeachable. And I believe losing Katie's commentary is a real loss for The Hill. Over the past week, I have struggled with whether to continue co-hosting this show. Robbie and I talk about censorship and cancel culture frequently, and it feels hypocritical to talk about those subjects without applying the same scrutiny to our own show. However, I also believe strongly in this show's format. I deeply value cross-ideological discourse, and I think The Hill is one of the few corporate media spaces in which left voices are tolerated at all. The Hill has told me that the decision to end its relationship with Katie is an editorial decision about style and not ideology or substance, and that it would be happy for me to cover Israel-Palestine and any other newsworthy topic as I see fit. So I've decided to put that claim to the test. I will be staying with The Hill as long as I do not experience what I believe to be ideological censorship. I will continue to cover topics as I see fit, including the ongoing apartheid conditions in Israel. And if at any point I feel like I am being censored, I will end my relationship with The Hill. I will have more to say about this decision on my own show, Bad Faith Podcast, which you can find on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcast. And I'll be also hosting an opportunity for folks to call in and comment on my call-in show, The Debrief, which you can find with the call-in app later tonight. I appreciate The Hill giving me this opportunity to voice my view on this matter.
Look, I feel similarly to you. I didn't like how this was handled at all. I've not liked how some previous things have been handled. It was really hard parting ways with Kim Iverson, who I remain very strong friends with. Look, the audience knows we've had growing pains on this show following the departure of the longtime hosts, where we've had different people trying to figure out how we all get along and fit in with our various perspectives together. The Hill got acquired by a new parent company, so there have been uncomfortable times. I'm sure we've gotten things wrong sometimes or handled things not as we should, but I love this show. The viewers of this show have been so loyal to us, and as we try to figure things out, and they trust us. I hope that you continue to trust us to deliver unfiltered, unbiased, uncensored news. The only news show in existence right now that actually features debates and disagreements. And I think that format, like you, still has value, and we're going to keep at it until they pull the plugs on this thing.
Or until, we prove the contrary case and find that it's no longer a place for this kind of conducive rather to these kind of conversations. So.
Well, we'll find out. I'm confident that's not the case, but we'll see how it goes. All right. Enough of that. Let's get to the actual news of the day.
Obviously, I'm not as sanguine about how it's going to go as Robbie, and I don't think it's just growing pains. I think that, again, like I said, that ideological choices are being made. And I think I don't know. I think that there is a real schism between the people who are running the show into the ground, arguably, and the people who are like working with it every day, the production team that's trying very hard to do something important. And it's a real shame. Like, it's a real shame. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying in the comments, the Hill needs you, Brie. I think that's like, yeah, I mean, there is, no, I don't think there's any question over whether, the question is, and I think the people like struggle with this a lot, which is how much is someone legitimate? And I actually don't think you should, like, but I'm just going to say, I know that what you're struggling with, and I know what I, in your position, would be struggling with is like, there's the cost benefit is like getting leftist messages out there versus legitimizing an outlet. And I honestly, I mean, especially if you're going to be talking about Israel, Palestine, especially, and if that's the issue that's at hand, I don't know.
But then half the time, Katie, is like when I was being spoken to, your firing was being rationalized to me. It was a lot of like, well, we make content decisions. We try to do things that are like germane to what people are talking about. Like, we're the Hill. We talk about domestic policies, foreign policy is in our wheelhouse. And I was like, first of all, this is about a sitting congressperson who's being speared as an anti-Semite on the Hill. It's a show called The Hill. She works on The Hill. This is clearly relevant and newsworthy and like it's not a topic choice issue. And, you know, moreover, you want to sit here and say we do important content. I opened the videos up for what they had talked about that day. And it was like 3 out of the 9 issues were like either about some random trans person somewhere who lived their life, or, you know, some of those other pop culture, or like Kanye West or some stuff. Like, and I'm not saying I'm above talking about pop culture. I want to do a show that's the left view, but let's not sit here and pretend like this is something that it's not, and that we don't talk about like whatever Joe Rogan said yesterday, or some large prosthetic breasted trans woman in Canada, as though like that is relevant to anybody's life.